Hello and welcome back to Here We Tow. Well, here we are at the storage yard. I think this is our first ever vlog from the storage yard. And what are we doing today? Well, as the title may well give away, we're going to weigh our Adria Caravan. We're going to take it to a public weighbridge nearby to the storage yard, and we're going to find out just how much our caravan weighs compared to its MTPLM, its maximum technical permissible laden mass. So why are these things important? Well, we've owned our Adria for nearly 2 years in April, and we've never taken it to a weighbridge. A lot of people never have. What many of us know is weights and measures are important with caravanning. We know MTPLM's important, payload, nose weight, and also that 85% magic number that we talk about when towing. As I say, today we're looking at how close we are to our MTPLM. If you want to know where you can find the facts and figures for your caravan, there's a couple of places you can look. First of all, on your caravan, close to the door, you should find a plate. This is your manufacturer's plate, and on there it's going to tell you a number of things. The top number on ours is 1750. That's 1,750 kilograms, and that is our MTPLM. Further down, we see the number 100. That refers to our nose weight. Our caravan should run at no more than 100 kilograms. And after that we see 1800 kilograms. So what's that, you might wonder? It's possible to have your caravan up-plated or up-rated. And what that means is you can pay extra to have new paperwork and a new plate for your caravan. So you may wonder, well, why don't the caravan manufacturers just do that anyway? Well, this comes down to a number of things, and that includes the amount people's vehicles can tow, because the heavier the caravan, the less access to tow vehicles you're going to have. It also comes down to people pushing it a little bit further and then the caravan becoming dangerously heavy. And it may also come down to people with their B+E category on their driver's licence. So there's a number of reasons why they stick to a lower figure, but if you want, you can upplate to get that extra payload. How do you know what the payload of your caravan is? Well, you're probably going to find that in the literature for your caravan, the paperwork, on the manufacturer's website, online, or even on your plate. Plates can be different depending on caravans. The way to work out your payload is you want your MIRO, your mass in running order, and you subtract that from your MTPLM. This can get a little bit confusing, so I'm sorry if I do lose you. But basically, take your MTPLM minus your MIRO and you're going to get your payload. Now our caravan, it is a European caravan, and ours shows MRO, mass in running order, and that figure is actually slightly lower than our MIRO because it takes into account different things. So I know that my payload is 159 kilograms and my MIRO is actually 1,591. So make sure you know the figures before you start putting things in the van. The main number to worry about though is the maximum, that MTPLM, that's the figure we need to be under. So today what I'm going to do next, and I'll bored you with all the facts and figures, is we're going to go through this caravan, our van. I'm going to show you what we have in it when we tow, when we set off on the site, to a site on a tour, and we're going to take it straight to the weighbridge and we're going to weigh it. Now I know some of you will already be shouting that the weighbridges aren't perfect, and what if they're not calibrated correctly? What I'll say is we're going to a trading standards weighbridge. It is calibrated. Yes, there is room for error. Every weighbridge will have that. However, as long as it's calibrated, you're doing the best you can do to find out your MTPLM. Some weighbridges, they have separate plates, and we'll see that when we go to the weighbridge. I think the one we're going to use has 3 separate plates, and each of those measure axles. Again, I won't go into the technicalities because I don't profess to know it all. What I do believe is they say there can be up to 50 kilograms of error per plate. So on each plate there could be up to 50 kilograms. So if you were on 2 plates, you could have up to 100 grams. That would obviously be for a larger vehicle. It's worth bearing in mind though that if the police or the DVSA or trading standards ever take you to a weighbridge, the place you would be arguing that calibration is likely to be in court if they're looking at a prosecution, and that's going to cost you some money to argue. So what we're doing is we're trying to be wise before we get to that stage. We want to know, where are we at with our MTPLM? And the trading standards calibrated weighbridge should give us a fairly accurate reading for what we need today. So let's have a look round now at what we have on the Adria. First of all, we're going to start in the front locker. Now, part of your payload will already be covered under the MIRO. Now, each manufacturer, when they produce their figures, will take different things into account in that mass in running order. And that does include gas, electric cables, and some quantities of water in your water tanks or your flush. As I say, check with your manufacturer, because since 2015, criteria has changed and yours might be different to ours. It's also really important when you're thinking about payload, as well as what you're going to put into the Caravan, what's already been put on it that might not be included in your MIRO. And things like that are motor movers. Now, we've got a motor mover. A motor mover can weigh anywhere from 20 up to 40 kilos, and that's eating into your payload. You might also have a solar panel that could weigh 5 to 10 kilos. You may well have an air conditioning unit that could be 20 kilos. Your leisure battery may not be in your MIRO, that could be 20 kilos. Other things include satellite systems, bike racks, and various other things that people add on. So you must consider what's also eating into that payload of the extras that you're putting on the Caravan. That said, let's crack on now and have a look in our front locker and see what we carry in here first of all. Now, we've got quite a good size front locker, as you can see. In here we've got our safe fill. That's a 10 kilo safe fill. Empty, that weighs 5 kilos, and full it weighs 15. So it takes 10 kilograms of LPG. Your MIRO may already take into account a gas allowance. So again, have a look at your own Caravan. We've also got in here the spare wheel. Some Caravans don't come with them. Some of them will have them underslung, but ours is in here. We've also got our water hog and our waste hog, and they probably weigh about 5 kilos each, I would imagine. We've also got our toilet chemicals, we've got a hose pipe, and we've got a brush for cleaning the Caravan. We've also got our leg winder. So that's what we carry in our front locker. And we also have a bucket here with a few cleaning cloths. So when you're packing your front locker, it's important to bear in mind that's going to have a direct effect on the nose weight of your Caravan. And I know ours does generally run at 100, if not slightly less, because we always measure it before we set off. So that's the front locker. There's nothing else externally that we've had added other than the motor mover. So what we'll do now is we'll just go inside and we'll just have a look at what I've got in there that's going to impact on our payload. So this is how the Adria is when we tow it. And everything that you're going to see here is what we carry within the Caravan. Everything else goes into the car. So up front, we've just got the normal seating area, scatter cushions. I've got my electric kettle that I put up there, and I've got a kitchen roll on here. That is it. We don't have anything under this front storage at all. We don't carry anything under there. The first locker we have up here. Now overhead, we just have a couple of bits here. We've got an empty box, part of our cob stuff. We've got a small August portable television. We've got an empty iPhone box. Jules has got an apron. I've got a bag of fudge, and we've got a little clipboard. And a glass. So that is what we've got up there. And again though, I would imagine that could easily weigh up to, you could have a couple of kilos just there. So that's that locker. So over on this side, on the off side in this overhead locker, we have a notepad. We've got a couple of empty boxes that Jules owns. We've got a collapse shower. We've got the collapse bucket and the lid for that. So again, maybe a couple of kilos up there. It's important not to put heavy items in these lockers because you'll make your caravan top heavy. You want the weight down below. As we move down the kitchen, what we carry in here, in this cupboard, I've got 4 mugs all together. We've got 2 bowls. I've got a milk frother, and at the back I've got 2 plastic glasses, 3 plastic glasses and 1 pan. As you know, I don't do much cooking, so I don't know much about pans, but I do have one, and that's up there in that cupboard. Here we've got our microwave. Now that's obviously already included in our caravan weight. Within the sink, this is where I always put the water pump and my surface spray and the washing up liquid, and that's what goes in the sink. This is probably going to be the heaviest drawer. Now in here, we've got in here our cutlery. It is lightweight cutlery. It's cheap and naff from B&M, and it's very lightweight. So I keep cutlery in there, and I also keep the cooking utensils, mostly for barbecuing outdoors. That's probably going to be the heaviest cupboard, the heaviest drawer, sorry. And again, there could well be a couple of kilos in there, possibly. I don't know. We're going to find out. The next drawer down, there's just bits in here. I've got some batteries, I've got sponges, bin bags, kitchen foil, tablets when Jules gets a headache from listening to me, a tape measure, and our tyre pressure checker gauge there. And that's what's in that drawer. There's nothing in the drawers underneath. Those are completely empty. The fridge freezer, always empty when we travel, apart from maybe the odd bottle of ketchup, but right now that is empty. We don't travel with food because generally we've eaten it. So we'll look first of all at the shelving unit. On the shelves we've got a couple of t-shirts that I've left in, a hooded top, a bathrobe, we've got a belt, a microfiber towel, a couple of my bits, just tops. We've got a spare towel here, and then some cleaning sprays down below. We don't travel with clothes in the van any more than what I've left in here. Everything else goes in our car. So that's the shelves. So in the wardrobe, we've nothing hanging up. There's the Alder tank, which has got plenty of fluid in it. We've got an insulated bag for our water hog. We've got my Adria rucksack, and down below we've got a handheld G-Tech vacuum, a couple of coat hangers, and a small low wattage fan heater. And that's what we carry in there. So that's what I've got in there. And then we head further back. Now, what I'll do first of all is I'll just show you what's down here on the floor. And it's not Jules's slippers. They're there. They do go with us. But it's the awning. We quite often will put the awning in the caravan over the axle. And that does tend to make our Adria tow with quite a lot more stability with some weight over our axle. This awning, I believe this one weighs 28 kilograms. So we add that to the payload, and from my calculation we're all right with that, but we're going to find out at the Weighbridge. What I'd say, if you've got a much heavier awning, I would put it in your tow car. When we've used the Florence and the Montellina, which has weighed a lot more than that, nearly 40 kilos, it's gone in the car. This is a 250 porch awning, and that's going to travel in here. Our Kalari, we used to put that in here in the same place. If you are putting an awning or something heavy on the floor, make sure it's secured. We make sure that we fasten that to this bed. We can actually attach it to the bed frame so it doesn't move. If when you're driving, that 30 kilos was to fly around the floor in your caravan, you're going to make your caravan really unstable, so make sure stuff's secured. We get to the bed. Now we do have things under the bed, which I will come to because we're going to obviously have a look under, but we always travel with the bedding. We've got 4 pillows, we've got a double duvet, and within this, wrapped in here, I've got 2 plates, because our dining plates don't stay in the cupboard. We've got a 22-inch television, and I've got a Bose speaker. Some of you may have seen the green speaker that we have on the window ledge. That's there. So as I say, that's basically what is encompassed in that little group there. The only other things that we have in the bedroom is in this cupboard up here, which I'll show you. We have a couple of items of Jules's clothing, and when I say a couple, I mean a hooded top that he uses to go to the shower block. This cupboard over here, there's nothing in that cupboard, that's completely empty. And back in the bathroom, again, I don't need to particularly show you in there. I've got a hand towel that you can see there, another small towel hanging on the toilet holder, and other than that, I don't have any towels or toiletries or anything else that I carry in the bathroom. So that is just as it is, it's empty. The toiletries would generally be in my clothes bag that's in the car. So that's about it. So what we'll do now is we'll just have a look under the bed so I can show you what we carry under our bed, and then we can hit the road and get onto the Weighbridge. So here on the near side we've got locker access under our island bed. It's easier just to come in this way than try and lift it up with everything on it. Under here we take our awning carpet, the carpets for the Caravan, we have 2 Vango chairs, we've got our electric cable, and we've got the legs for the Cadac. The Cadac itself goes in the tow car. So that's what we've got under the bed. So there we are. The last thing we have to do is put the steps in the Caravan, so we've got to include those. We're going to take off the security, which goes in our tow car, put our legs up, hitch up and head off. We're not putting the towing jacket on because the Weighbridge is not far from where we're going, but we have left it inside the Caravan because in the interest of our weighing experiment, we want to include everything that we would normally tow with. So let's hitch up, head off and find out, are we over or are we under? I'm a little bit excited if I'm honest. I'll see you at the Weighbridge. And that's it, we've been to the Weighbridge and we're back at the storage yard and we're all tucked up safely. This has been an extremely insightful and interesting exercise that we've completed here, and I'm going to go through why in just a minute. So what happened first of all when we got to the Weighbridge? Well, as you could see, there were 3 plates on the ground. We parked at the stop line and then we went inside where we paid a fee of £10. Now this Weighbridge is run by Trading Standards, and I asked them about the calibration and the accuracy of their Weighbridge. And quite frankly, the reply was, this is as accurate as you're going to get. They will go to court and prosecute people based on this Weighbridge. So those that want to argue it could be 50 kilos out, that's fantastic. But I think we need to take on board that what we've had printed here is an accurate reflection of the weight of our Caravan. And in terms of being lawful and possibly being prosecuted, this is what they're going to go on. So I'm taking on board what we've had here. So we drove onto the Weighbridge, we uncoupled the Caravan, we drove off and they weighed our Adria. Now, as I said, our MTPLM is 1,750 kilos and we can have it upplated to 1,800. So I know that the maximum that our Caravan will safely take is 1,800. Before we went, we showed you honestly what is in our Caravan. So were we over or were we under? So here we have it. This is what I've come away with. And you'll see just near where my hand is here, if we come down, it says one weight. And the weight there is 1,800 kilos. It's then got our car registration, which obviously we didn't weigh, and it's got Adria Caravan and my surname. So our Caravan, in the state it was then, was 1,800 kilos. So what does that mean? That means we're 50 kilos over our MTPLM. And before we left the Weighbridge, we made sure we rectified that immediately. So what have we done? We've taken out the 50 kilos of extra payload that we've been carrying. And here it is. So to get down to 1,750, we've removed our awning carpet, which weighs 5 kilos, our 2 Van Gogh chairs, our wash bucket and toilet chemicals, and this hose pipe. That there is 50 kilos. That will not be going back in our Caravan. I think it's interesting to take from this that we were 50 kilos over, according to these calibrated Weighbridge scales. What are our options? We can either take out this 50 kilos and now know that we're right on our limit, or we could upplate our Caravan to 1,800, and that gives us a little bit extra flexibility in our payload, and that's something I might consider. I think generally the cost of upplating can be up to about £50, but don't quote me, and that would then cover this extra payload. So that's something I might consider. What I would say is, I don't think we carry a lot in this Caravan. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen people carry a lot more than this, and this is worrying for me, because how much are we really carrying in our Caravans? What are we towing behind us? Another thing to point out before I go on is we never weighed our Caravan completely empty from the day we picked it up. We never checked our MIRO. And that could be important, because when a manufacturer designs and makes its original Caravan that this Adria would have been based on, they weigh that exact Caravan. Ours could have been different from the start. Yours might be. So how much payload we really had when we thought we had, I can't tell you. All I can tell you is where we are in relation to that MTPLM. We are now bang on it. What I'm going to do, because as you know, safety is a big thing for us, I'm going to set a challenge. I'm going to ask you to take part in the Weighbridge challenge. We've taken our Caravan, we've weighed it for £10. I now know where we stand legally when towing, and also if we had an accident, because this could affect your Caravan insurance policy, because if you're over, they may not wish to pay out, and that's not a scare tactic. I'm telling you, that's what could happen. So what I would advise is take me up on the challenge. Tow your Caravan in its normal state to a Weighbridge, hand over your £10, and then in the comments below or on social media, wherever you want, tell me what is the answer to the Weighbridge challenge. Are you under or are you over? I think that's pretty interesting, and I think it's wise that we all take on board what's happened here today. I'm going to draw a line under it there. I'm going to go for some lunch now and ponder about the weight of our Caravan and whether I should be upplating. So I hope you found that interesting. I'm sure many of you got comments you wish to make about it, and that's fine. But for me, this is the action we're going to be taking now. This is our reaction to finding out how much we weigh. So, on a serious note, think about your weights, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After we came away from the Weighbridge, there was something I wanted to check, so I've called Trading Standards, the Weighbridge where we went to, and asked them the increments that their Weighbridge measures in. They've confirmed that it goes up in units of 20 kilograms. So what does that mean? It means that our Caravan could have weighed anywhere between 1,781 kilograms and 1,800 kilograms. It means we were still overweight. It doesn't change that fact, but it's just information that you might want to know if you're going to the Weighbridge. Check the increments that it measures in, because you could be anywhere within that 20 kilos. Once again, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.